Hey guys, I just wanted to shoot a quick kind of tech review on the E53 since there is a lot of technology in the car and it's hard trying to maintain that social distancing. So this way you'll have something you can reference at home, if you're kind of wondering how did he do that or how do I access this menu item. So basically sitting in the driver's seat, I'm just going to power up the accessories here. I'll start with the door and kind of work my way across. So as you probably figured out, this is your seat adjustment. So, seat back, headrest, the thigh bolster is power adjustable there. The heating and cooling, there's 3 modes. And then this is the memory function. So once I have the seat where I like it and the mirrors where I like them, then I would press M1, and then that's driver seat 1, and then M2, M3, and then if somebody gets in and they kind of change things around, I just press that 1 and it goes back to where I had it. And it'll also remember, because the steering column is power adjustable, it'll remember that. Door locks, pretty straightforward. Same thing with the windows, and the windows in the E coupes, when you put the front and the back down, you do get the pillarless, like that pillar disappears, so it's a really stylish kind of look with the windows down. The mirror adjustment, pretty standard fare, left and right, and then this button at the top is to tuck the mirrors when the vehicle is powered up. So they will tuck in when it's turned off, but if you're, say, sitting in traffic and you want to have them tucked in, you just press that top button and they'll pull themselves in. Now, to go over the screens here, we control everything with the steering wheel for this screen. So over here on the right, we have a home button, a back button, and an OK, and over on the other side we have a home button and a back button and an OK. So this side controls this screen, this side controls the center screen. So if I want to change the display here, if I press the little house, then it'll bring up the options for displaying. So I can go into like designs and displays, I can go to like the more classic gauge cluster, and then if I want to change what's displayed here, I can scroll over to the left, say, and I can change what's displayed in that left bucket. I can go over to the right, I can change what's displayed in that right bucket. So there's tons and tons of different options of, combinations of how you would display this. And some of the items, like for example, if I go into navigation, you just sort of trial and error to figure out which ones will do this. But if I'm in the center, if I go down 1, it'll fill that center. But if I go down a second time, anything that says full screen display, it has the option of actually taking over the whole gauge cluster. Not everything will do that, but things like driver assistance, you can do that. The navigation, I think that's it actually for the full screen display. The other ones, like if I go radio, it'll just be the center and it'll give me the option of changing my radio stations by swiping. So whatever you choose there, you can kind of further interact with it with that little slidey pad. I'm going to put it back on the Super Sport gauges because that's only available in the AMG product line, so people like to have that exclusive gauge on display. This second section down below, this is your cruise control. So pretty simple. You just turn it on, set your speed. If you want to go faster, you slide up. If you want to go slower, you slide down. This is your active distance assist. So you press that to determine how far you're willing to kind of let the car slide along behind the person in front of you. And then when you're done with your cruise control, you just click it off. That joystick that I mentioned that moves the steering wheel, that's where the heated steering is. So if I turn that, it'll say on, have the little heated wheel, and that little red light means your heated steering is on. So if I back that off, then it turns it off. Now, this is the vehicle shifter, so you probably figured that out when you drove it yesterday. Down for drive, up for reverse, park is the button at the end. So that means that this one controls everything else. So this is your signal, this is your brights, so you pull them to go bright, and you push them forward to keep them on. It's your wipers, so if I go up, and they are rain sensing, so you can see, it's hard to display it, but the little dots there indicate how sensitive the rain sensing is. So like the further they're spaced apart means it's going to be less sensitive, and as they get closer, and then a solid bar means it's constantly on, and then the 2 solid bars means that it's going as fast as it can. And if you want to spray the window, you kind of press that in a hard press. Like a light press will do a single swipe, and a hard press will spray washer fluid on the window. Now moving over to this side, so this screen, there's actually 4 ways you interact with it. So you've got the controller here, so same as the other one, I can scroll my thumb. If I want to go into a menu item, I just click down on that OK button. If I want to go back, I press the little back arrow. And home will always kind of zero me back to navigation. And then below we have the option of the star is your favorites. So I'll show you where the favorites tab is in here, and you can kind of set up favorites and it'll just instantly take you right there. And the phone, it will, when you press the pickup, once your phone is paired, then it'll show you your recent calls, and when you don't have a phone paired, it takes you to the screen where you can pair your phone. This is your volume rocker. And then this little voice control, you have the option of either just saying, "Hey Mercedes," and it'll respond, you know, listening, or I can press that and it'll do the same thing. It'll start listening for a command. So that's sort of your hands on the wheel control. The second way you can interact with it is you have this little touchpad. So if I want to scroll back and forth, if I want to go into a menu item, like say I want the navigation, I just click down. If I want to zoom in, I just like on a phone, I can pinch to zoom. And just like on the steering wheel, I have a home button and a back button. So if I press home, it's going to take me back to that main menu, and the back button will kind of move you back a step. So that's the second way. The third way, the screen itself is full touch. So I can do just what I was doing on that pad right on the screen. So if I reach out, let's pinch to zoom, I've got a home button. I can go in here and just kind of scroll back and forth to select a radio station. So that's the third way. And then the fourth way is the voice control. So just saying, "Hey Mercedes." "Hey Mercedes."
How can I help?
Turn on the heated steering wheel.
Okay, I'm switching on the steering wheel heating.
So that voice assistant can do most of the electronically controlled functions in the vehicle. So you can tell it to turn on the massage, or, you know, to change the radio station or navigation or call so-and-so. Now I'm going to go through the menu items here in the screen. So the very far left one is your phone. So that's pretty straightforward. Once your phone is paired, then it'll show your call list. There is a dial pad in here, so when you click on that, it lets you manually enter. You can have two phones paired at the same time, and it will receive calls for both. And then this little button down here allows you to choose which one you want to be the Bluetooth streaming kind of preferred phone. So if you are listening to music on one person's phone and the other person says, "Oh, well, I want to listen to my music, or I have a podcast," then you would just press that button and switch to the other phone. Navigation is pretty straightforward. The little flag is if you want to set a destination, so it'll come up and will say, to enter your point of interest. And the right one is, it'll say basically, "Is this your home?" So once you're sitting in your driveway, you can click that and set it as your home address, and then the vehicle will know where you live. The radio, again, pretty straightforward. You kind of scroll. This is the Sirius XM. It has obviously AM, FM. I'm just going to scroll that down. And if you want to save something into one of your favorites, like say, you really like CBC 90.5. So along the bottom here, these are the favorites. So if I hold down on number 1, it'll give me the option to replace that radio station with CBC, and then now that's my primary radio station that I listen to. And you can have a combination of Sirius XM and CBC in there. The next one is media. So this is streaming from your phone. So once your phone is paired, then you would click on that and it'll start playing whatever you've got playing on your phone. And when you're in these menus, the little cog down below allows you to go in and adjust the audio settings. So you've got the Burmester sound system, so you can have it like there's different sound profiles, pure, surround. So it is a very competent audio system. So that's where you kind of go in and tweak for your sort of music tastes. The next one, the comfort, is where you choose your massage. So hopefully you tried those yesterday. You've also got the seat comfort control, so you can set up seat kinetics, is kind of like massage light. If I turn that on, every so often the seat will move slightly just to keep me fresh. So it's not a full-blown massage. It just kind of, the seat back will move just like half an inch, and then the seat bottom will move a little bit. Just for a long drive, it is nice. But you can actually manually control, how much lumbar do I want and where do I want it. So that's where you kind of play with that. The side bolsters, again, you can have the seat, hug you more if you're sort of in more of a sport driving mode, or if somebody's a little leaner. And you can also adjust the seat heating balance. So in the winter, if you're finding that the seat is a little bit too warm on your bottom, you can have the seat heat adjusted more up to your back, or vice versa. So by default, it's kind of dead center. And then this is also where we choose our ambient light. So ambient light, if you don't have multicolor, there's a 64 color wheel. So whatever color you choose, it's going to display just that color. If I go multicolor, then it's a combo and it'll kind of oscillate between the different colors. So most people like the multicolor options. There's a couple of them that are just, you know, all the colors of the rainbow, and it'll just cycle them all, or you can pick, you know, ones that kind of suit your mood. So the welcome animation and the climate animation just means that it's going to give you a little kind of ambient light color show when you get in, and climate means that it's paired to these climate control buttons. So if I turn up my temperature, they turn red. If I turn down my temperature, they turn blue. So that's that. The next one, the AMG performance, that's exclusive to our true AMGs. So the E53 would fall into that. So this is where you have sort of the vehicle kind of data gathering, so where it's showing your G-force meter, your percentage of acceleration and brake. If you go into engine, it'll show like how much horsepower, how much torque you're using at any given moment. Fuel consumption, you know, a running meter of that. And then the dynamic select, this is where you would set up your individual drive mode. So dynamic will switch between sport, slippery, comfort, Sport Plus, and then individual is if you want to set one up that is to your taste. So say you like the steering to be really stiff, but you want the engine not to be at full boil, that's where you would go in and set up an individual configuration of these 4 items. So the drive, the transmission, the vehicle dynamics, and the suspension. The Mercedes Me apps, I'm going to set you up on Me Connect, so you won't have to worry about that. This is where the vehicle, like the app, will be on your phone. Your phone can create a mobile browser within the car, so if you want to surf the internet on the screen, you can do that. And then settings is where you would set more kind of global set it and forget it things like setting the time. If you were to move to, say, someplace where it's miles per hour, you would change the gauges to miles per hour in there. Things like the lighting delay, so say when you get out of the car, by default it's 30 seconds, say you wanted a longer delay or a shorter delay. So there's quite a bit of stuff that you can customize in here, but it's kind of the type of thing, the defaults are what most people like, but if you're finding it's not doing something exactly the way you want, you can probably customize it in there. The quick access is for the intelligent drive items, so like the steering vibration, lane keep assist, distance, you know, so that's where you would kind of turn those on or off. And then the owner's manual, so you're going to have a hard copy when you pick up the vehicle, but there is actually a download of the owner's manual in the screen itself, and it's searchable, it has quick tips, so it's another place. I'm doing my best to kind of transfer my knowledge, but the engineers at Mercedes, they have a quick start guide, they have tips, so there's some things in there that might be not a bad idea to spend some time looking at when, you know, if you want to familiarize yourself with the car. So that's the screen kind of top level. Now if I scroll down, these are some preloaded themes that will change the gauge cluster. So if I choose, say, the trip theme, then it's going to go to what it thinks somebody that's going on a trip wants. So it shows navigation, it shows, you know, like what's going on the road in front of me. If I go, say I go into one of the sport ones, like there's the experience one, sport. So then it'll go to the sport gauges. It's got the G-force meter, it's got kind of some of the sport things. So they're just preloads to get you started, and then you can set up your own theme if you want. And then down one more, this is where the favorites. So these are the favorites that they kind of set up, so like sound adjustment, things like that. But you can go in and set up your own favorites. And then if you remember from 10 minutes ago when I said that little star button will take you to the favorites tab. So wherever I am in the menus, if I press that star, then it's going to take me to the favorites. So you can put like a person's phone number in the favorites, or you can put a certain radio station or a navigation waypoint. So you can set up your own kind of favorites. And the more you use the system, it will learn what you're doing, like who you're calling when, where you're going, and it'll kind of suggest some favorites as well. So that's built right into the system. So that's your screen. That's I mean, I know it's a lot, it's been a long video, but that is the bulk of the tech that you would need explained. The rest of this, the heating and air conditioning controls, most people can figure out. You know, you've got a driver and a passenger. If you want to do it electronically, that's what the menu button does, so it'll bring up you know, a digital version of that, but you can do it all manually. Each of these menu items in the home screen, they do have a hard button here. So you've got telephone, navigation, radio, the car, the favorites, your four-way flashers. Your wireless charging pad is down here. If you plug your phone into this port, then it'll prompt, do you want to use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and it'll switch to, you know, Apple's UI or Android's UI. But yeah, most people find the Mercedes system is more than adequate, but if you do prefer Apple, you can plug that in. The cup holders are set up right there. The other buttons that sort of flank here, you've got a volume rocker for the radio, and to mute, you just click down on it. And same idea on the steering wheel. This is to power down the screen, so if you're driving at night, you want it to be just black, you press that. Your auto start stop, so the vehicle by default, every time you start it, is going to be set up to turn off at a red light and then turn back on. With the integrated starter motor, most people don't find the desire to disable that very strong because it's got a very smooth stop start. This is your active park assist. So if I press that button, then the cameras of the vehicle start looking for a parking spot, and it'll actually prompt you on the screen. If it finds a spot, it'll make a little chime. You press the button, yes, I want that spot, and the car can park itself. It's something I probably should show you before you do it, or maybe watch a YouTube video on that by itself. And then these are the items that dynamic button can kind of customize. So you can on the fly change your transmission kind of shift points, so you can make it a little sportier, the stiffness of the suspension. And if you want to fully turn off traction control, you can do that right there. I think that's pretty much it. You've got a couple other charging ports in there, and yeah, the controls up here, pretty straightforward as far as like opening and closing your sunroof. SOS, the vehicle has the ability to call emergency services, and it will activate automatically in the event of an accident. These are just your dome lights and your reading lights, and then there is a glasses case built in into there. The vehicle does have home link, so these three buttons under here are to pair with your garage. If you have a garage at home, you just sort of hold down the button on here until it starts flashing green, and then you press the garage button of your garage door opener, and it'll pair, so you don't have to keep that kind of little brick in the car. You just press the button and it'll open your garage. So I'm gonna get this all back to the defaults. I'm gonna wipe everything down. I know we're up to almost a 20-minute long video, but this is something you can rewatch if you have a question about how to control things, and certainly call me, you know, if you have any questions about the tech.